Hi, it's Richard at Richard's Guitars, and as promised, I'm going to be doing a few videos to do a bit of tuition. And yes, it might be like the blind leading the blind, but who cares? But I believe I'll be able to help someone out there, okay? And I'm hoping you'll enjoy the hopefully more relaxed manner, and it'll all be completely off the cuff, improvise as we go along, and no editing, so I'm going to make a right fool of myself, no doubt, along the way. But there's a few of us stuck at home at the moment with stuff that's going on around, so at least it'll be, if nothing else, if not educational, entertaining in some way. So, right then, what we're going to be tackling is blues concepts, okay? And if you've got any questions, fire them away, put them in the comments below, because I'll tackle any level. If you want me to go back a step, you know, it's hard to pitch to know where to go with this. But I'm going to start today by an angle. I'm going to start with an angle and then we'll see where we go from there. Okay, so today's angle is why you need to have more knowledge. Knowledge is power, should we say. Knowledge is power. So for example, I could sit here and it would be so easy, and I see it day in, day out. Guitar tutors online, some great tutors out there, but you know, a classic thing would be someone doing a, you know, and then they might go, you know, something like that, I don't know, you know, something, just Rasmena. We could just go round and round and round and round in circles, just coming up with licks and licks and licks and licks and licks and licks and licks. But the point is, you still don't know what you're doing, and you're kind of copycatting it, copycat style. And I see, when I was teaching, 25 years ago, when I was teaching, when I actually played guitar, I would be teaching people who were in bands, and they knew all the songs, they knew how to play in time, they knew everything they were doing, but they had no idea what they were playing. And I think that same concept goes for playing the blues. And to me, it's like reading a book. I could read a book in French, and I could adapt my, you know, my skill. I could learn to read this book and sound very fluent. And if I read that book for 6 months, I could probably sound French, but still have absolutely no concept of what I was doing at all. And I'd always be relying on learning the next script so that I could sound French again. And I kind of see that a lot in guitar playing. And so what I want to do is give you the tools and the understanding to actually be creative and expressive with your playing at any level whatsoever. And we are talking, this is not complicated stuff. This is something that the absolute complete beginner can do right from the earliest phase of playing. So that's what we're going to be working on, getting you to understand the blues. We're going to break it apart and we're going to have a bit of fun playing around with it. So what the hell's happened to me? How long's that been like that? Do we do it again? Nah. The blurry blues. I got the blurry blues. Right. Let's go. No, okay, so a certain amount of presumed knowledge. And I have written out a few bits and bobs of stuff that would be really useful for you to know about, and do not worry if you don't know about it. Okay, so hopefully we're staying in focus now. I want you to think about whether you know any of this stuff on here, because this gives me a bit of an idea about who I'm talking to here. Have you heard of intervals? Do you know what an interval is? Yes or no? It doesn't matter. None of this matters. If you don't know about any of it, it doesn't matter. But tell me if you know about it, because obviously if you were sitting here with me now, we'd be having a chat about it. But obviously without me knowing, I can't help you. So intervals. Have you ever heard of an interval? Do you know what it is? Do you have a basic knowledge of chord construction? Do you know how chords are created? It's really useful to know for blues. This is all focusing on blues. Have you ever heard of the diatonic scale? kind of like a major scale, or do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's the diatonic scale. The pentatonic scale. Do you know what a pentatonic scale is? I'm kind of hoping you might do. And then the blues scale. Do you know the difference between the pentatonic scale and the blues scale? Okay. I've got a little diagram there, and that is basically a diagram that you'd expect to see floating around a lot on the internet and books and videos of the old days. That is basically a major scale from root to root. So it's like through 2 octaves. It's a major scale played from the root to the root. And then I would love you to tell me how much of that you already know, or whether you know any of it. And don't worry if you know sod all, it doesn't matter, because I will help you. 12 bar blues, that's what we're going to be kind of looking at. Now, I'm going to be showing, what I'm kind of hoping to do is to build a 12 bar blues, but with knowledge. Knowledge is power, yes. I want you to basically create your own 12 bar blues. And that's what I'm going to be trying to get you to do. I want you to create your own 12 bar blues that sounds bluesy, and you're going to have the added benefit that you didn't just copy it. It wasn't just a complete copycat, which you could copy what I'm doing, but I'm trying to give you the tools to do this yourself, to improvise and to play the blues with knowledge, okay? That's where we're going here. And it does not matter. We're going to be doing it at a bass, you know, it doesn't matter what level. I know you can do it. This is the point. It's not complicated. Okay, now then. I posted a picture on Facebook, and if you haven't seen it, I'll put a link to it. And if you can't get access to that picture, I want you to tell me, and because I can put the picture on my webpage. I can do it on a blog, you see. I could put the image on a blog. Now, what that picture was showing was intervals, and it was a picture of our pentatonic scale. So if I start here, so this is the bit that I'm thinking that a lot of you may already know, okay, the pentatonic scale. Okay. I want you to know that. That's the pentatonic scale, okay? The difference between, and that's in the position 1. There are 5 positions in total, and those 5 positions will take you up the fretboard to make you sound like you know what you're doing everywhere. It's the same notes, there's only 5 notes. It's called a pentatonic scale because it's got 5, penta scale. So pentatonic, 5 tones. So we've got the position 1, position 2, position 3, 4, 5 positions. I'm not showing you them right now, and it's not for today's lesson, but you can find them absolutely all over the place. Key to remember is you're always playing the same notes. That's really important, okay? They're different shapes because the notes are found at different places. Do they look different? You need to learn them. So we're going to be looking at first position, okay? And there's a very good reason why we're going to be looking at first position. So everything that I show you for this period is going to be in our first position. And the reason is I want you to learn and to understand how the chords moving behind what you're playing impact on what you're playing. And this is where we are going to be looking at intervals, the sound between, I don't want any complicate, I don't want you to get phased away here. So when we play a chord, okay, this is going to be our 1 chord. This is going to be the first chord. If you know about the 12 bar blues, you know it's a 1, 4, 5 progression. 1, 4, 5. And what we mean by that is it's the first chord, and then it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 4th note in the scale, 4 chord, and the 5 chord. 1, 4, 5. Again, I've got to right onto just for purely for today's lesson. I've got to keep saying anything you don't understand, tell me, and the more I know who doesn't understand what, I can help. So blues 4 5. This is what our blues progression is going to be following, the 3 chords: A7, D7 and E7. Today I'm going to be focusing on the 1 chord, and if you look at the 12 bar blues, you'll see this 1 chord in the 12 bar blues. In the 12 bar blues we have 1 bar, 2 bars, 3 bars, 4 bars. It can vary a bit. There's all sorts of little variations you can do on this. This is a real old-fashioned kind of 12 bar blues. Then we go to the 4 chord for 2 bars. Then we're back to the 1 chord for 2 more bars, and then it appears again down there. And the key is, I'm going to now show you why the notes kind of work. Okay, if you look at that graphic that I want you to see, you'll see that they're all in different colours, okay? Now, there's a reason for that. Those colours, the more vibrant colours, are chord tones, okay? Chord tones are what you follow in any music. Notes that you play as a lead guitarist will always blend with the chord tones. The tones that make up the chord that you're playing over. It's not rocket science. If I've got 3 notes that make up a chord, or 4 notes that make up a chord, every note you play will interact with those 4 notes, and they'll either sound good or they'll sound bad. And here's a really basic example. So I go, oh, okay, let me go, let me make it sound bluesy. So okay, this is the 1 chord. So all I've done there is loop around the 1 chord. This is the chord that we're going to be playing on all the time. If I do this, that should be pretty obvious to anybody who's playing a guitar, or anyone listening to this video. That note sounds pretty bad. It doesn't work, okay? Passing tones. Another subject. So it's bad though. If we hit that note, we know. 2 stabs, isn't it, to turn it off? I don't know how it works. Right. So if we're playing the 1 chord and we hit this note, it's awful. And there's reasons for that, and that's what we're going to study a bit today. So chord tones, if I'd hit the note next to it here, the reason that works is because it's the root of the chord. Okay, those notes are all the same, at different octaves, but they are all the root note. If you look at the diagram that I've shown you, it'll be a bright colour. I can't remember what colour it was, but maybe red, and that would mean, hey, it's a safe note. Okay, so we can rest the note, and we call it resolution or resolving. Whenever you're playing the blues, quite often the notes that you can resolve to, or the way that you flow to, will be chord tones. Okay, the most obvious one is the root. So if we play that again, straight away it's a blues. All I did there was 4 pentatonic notes. Okay, I rested on the root. I'll do another one, lower down. I'm resting to the root. All I'm playing is the pentatonic notes. This is what I want you to mess around doing. I could do an infinite number, not infinite, but a load. And if I like it, you learn it again. You learn it yourself. Joe Satriani said once, while we were having a chat at the pub, he said he said his hardest problem is learning his own songs, because he would do all his legato thing, and then he's got to learn it because he's done it on the record. And so when he was in the studio, it was relatively improvised. It would have been what I'd call structured improvisation, a knowledge of where the beginning, the middle, the end is, and then there's some wiggly stuff in there. And then it creates a song, and then it'd be flowing with the chord tones, and the chord tones would direct the song, and the song is based around the chord tones. But he then has to learn it afterwards. So when you're doing this, if you don't like it. If you do like it, okay, we'll stick with that one. Okay, so I like that one. And then you're creating a catalogue. You're creating a catalogue of riffs or licks that you like. You're not having to learn these from someone else. You need to learn techniques. So I would be able to show you, or you could pick up techniques that help you make your playing sound more creative, but you're not relying on just being force-fed stuff yourself. Hopefully this is making some sense. So we've done the root. We could do with one down here at the bottom. So I mean, that's down there below, isn't it? Let me think of it. No, I want to do something simpler than that. Let's just do that. You get the idea. I'm just playing notes and I'm coming back to the roots. Let's move on from the root. We'll do the fifth, okay? What is a fifth? A fifth is when you build a chord, you do the root, the third, the fifth. So the fifth is a resolution point. It's a resolving point. When you play your riffs or your licks, when you play your licks, the fifth as a chord tone, it's one of the chord tones in that chord, it's gonna sound resolved. So let's find the fifth. It's in your diagram. I've written it. You can see the diagram. So for the people that aren't looking at the diagram right now, the fifth is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the diatonic scale that I told you about earlier that you need to learn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's your major scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, a, dia. Okay, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll find that same note here. It appears twice, so we know where the roots are. We've done that one, now we've got the fifth. All within our pentatonic scale. So let's come up with a riff. Okay. No. I mean, so many things we could do. So let's whack on some let's put some backing on, because this is why you need it, because we can't really feel bluesy unless we got the bluesy stuff going on in the background. Couldn't be simpler, just a little ditty, just a. So all of a sudden, it's nice. So I've started on the 4. Now, the 4 isn't a root, it's not a chord tone. 4, the interval of a fourth, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4. A fourth isn't a chord tone. So if we hang around on a fourth, it's not going to sound good. So let's listen to that. It's not a chord tone, so it's not going to sound good. But as long as you move off it, okay, as long as you move away from it, it's going to sound alright. So for example, what's above a 4? A 5. 4, 5. Keeping it in our pentatonic scale there. So the obvious thing to do here, bend it. Root, root, 3, 4, resolve to the root. Fifth, resolve to the fifth. So resolve to the fifth. Okay, so there we're resolving to the fifth. So I want you to come up with some ideas that work resolving to the fifth. Now then, let's look at a really tasty. So we've done the root and the fifth. Now the root and the fifth are obvious because the root and the fifth are the two strongest resolving notes. They're the most obvious ones. So when we play the pentatonic scale, the thing that we're missing in the pentatonic scale is the third, because the third is the crucial part of a chord that tells you whether it's a minor chord or a major chord. And the chords that we're using in the blues are major. They have a major third. Okay, and again, if you learn your chord construction, which I can show you, this will become more and more obvious. But the simple thing here is 1, 2, 3. That's the third. So the third, an octave higher. That's a third, and you'll also find it here. But our pentatonic scale doesn't want us to do that. It's there. Okay. And here. So this is a really crucial part of the blues, because one of the key things about the blues is the interaction between the minor third and the major third. And this is, we could do a whole lesson on this one thing, but today I'm just talking about chord tones and the first position, and I want to kind of involve it in the whole general thing about what we're talking about. So let's have a look at it though. Play that. I'm going to play that chord again. That's our one chord. And now I'm going to play the minor third on its own, really flat, like just with no embellishment. Sorry. There you go. I'd edit that out in a normal one. So if I just play that really flat. Okay. If we just hear that note, you just can't imagine that note being important, can you? On its own. It just sounds. So what's going on there? Why is this note so important? If you look at my little diagram that I did, you'll see that in brackets next to the minor third, I put in brackets major third. Now that major third is a bright colour, yeah? You can see I've done the minor third in grey. I've made it grey because I want you to see it's not a resolving point, okay? The bright colours are where the resolving points are. And one of the resolving points are the major third. The major third is a resolving point because it's a chord tone, we just said. And not only is it a chord tone, but it's the most important chord tone because it's the chord that tells us whether the chord is major or minor. The major third is like a really strong, important chord in that note in that chord, or a strong interval in that chord. So I want to now go, okay, so we've now got something really interesting going on, because we can go from something that sounds off to something that sounds really on, really good. So in other words, minor third in the pentatonic sounds out, but the major third, which is outside of our pentatonic scale, sounds in. It works. It's a resolving note. So let me show you. If I just play the major third, which isn't in our pentatonic scale, so remember, this isn't in our pentatonic scale, but we need to know it's there. Okay, so we're just adding it as flavour because it's such an important note. Oh, it works. Works. Major third. It's not in our pentatonic scale. It's not in the blues scale. But it's absolutely critical to what we're going to be doing now. One of the lovely little things you can do in the pentatonic scale or the blues scale to make it sound bluesy is to just do what they call a curl on the minor third. What that curl is doing is it's taking our ear to that major third. Sometimes it doesn't even get there, it's not a full bend, but it's taking us to this resolution from a chord, from a note which really doesn't sound resolved at all. So let me give you an idea. That it's taking us to here, and in this case I'm curling it up and resolving there. But if I wanted to, I could go back I'm resolving it to the root. But if I want to kind of just keep it hanging, and that then leads us naturally to holding it to a full bend. Almost sounds a bit country. But it sounds kind of cooler. So here we're resolving to the root, but we're putting a bit of a curl. So I want you to practice hitting the minor third in that diagram, but curling it a bit to that minor third, to the major third. So you go, so how about this? If you're right at the beginning point of your journey, do this, root, but whenever you hit the third, the minor third, give it a bit of a, so. So it sounds cool already. It's nice, isn't it? Curl, root. Fifth. Don't want to stay on the four because the four's a bit poop, so we want to fall off it. Curl, root. Okay, so there are a ton of, so I think we've kind of covered their root, we've covered minor third with a bit of a bend. We've talked about the fourth, which is a bit of a kind of move away from it, but it's as long as you don't land on it, and it's really, really, really important that you know that that note is one that you don't land on. But what happens is your ears take over, and you naturally start to move away from resolving to that fourth. But if you know it's a fourth and you know it's the one that you keep away from, it helps you construct licks and phrases for the future. Okay, it helps you understand why. So fifth, and now minor seven. The minor seven, it's just part of the chord scale again, chord tones. So we've got the minor seven. It's part of the chord because the seventh chord that we're starting from, it's called a A7. The minor seven is another chord tone. Okay, so it's a really important note again because it's a chord tone. So let's play again. That minor seven is there, and it's here. But again, it sounds sweet. And what's nice about it is it doesn't resolve as obviously as a root and fifth, but it creates flavour. So so you might resolve to root, and then follow it up with a resolution to the seventh. So cool. It works, doesn't it? Hi, I'm so sorry. It seems as though my technical expertise has let me down once again. The bright light shining onto the whiteboard was putting me out of focus throughout that video, and I couldn't tell because I was too busy talking to you. So yeah, look. So look, we're getting there. I'm really sorry if you now feel seasick from looking at a blurred video for the whole time, and my memory card has run out, so I'm absolutely messed this all up. So. Hey, but look, we're in it together, right? I told you I'd make a prat of myself. So, has any of that helped at all? Because clearly we can carry on in the next video. I can't do it all over again. But I'll make a better one. I'll improve, you see. I'll start off a bit rubbish and I'll get better. So what we'll do in the next video is, for certain, we'll look a little bit at the flat 5, the blues note, and the key development next time we'll be looking at the chord change. So as we go from the 1 chord to the 4 chord, how our notes now sound against relative to the new chord that we're playing, and why the notes within the pentatonic scale continue to sound good over that chord. Okay, so it'll be really interesting, and I'm hoping it'll just give you a new kind of angle and understanding of the blues. Because it's great fun and it can be done at any level. I think that's the wonderful thing about the blues, is that it doesn't matter whether you're a complete beginner or more advanced. Anybody can play the blues, and therefore hopefully this might even inspire a few people to start playing blues, thinking that, oh, it's, I can't do that. But maybe if you sort of watch the videos and you start to sort of build up from your level, you'll find that you can play the blues and have loads of fun with it. Okay, I'm really sorry. Please don't thumb down the video because of all the blurriness. I'm not a YouTuber. I use YouTube to talk to you guys, but I'm not an expert with YouTube, and I'm not. I don't have an editor. So it's just done between all my other work. So yeah, I was looking forward to doing this, and I'm glad I've done it. But I'm really sorry for the blurring. That's a complete nightmare. Anyway. I'll see you next time and we'll take it from there. Please put in the comments below how you feel, any gaps that need addressing. If you want me to start with the regular major scale, if you want me to do a video on chord construction, we can do all of it. Anywhere that you feel there's a problem, I'll help, okay? Alright, thanks guys. Stay well and safe and all that kind of stuff, and I'll see you soon. Okay, cheers, bye.